Alright, play it. Projector, screen 1, monitoring. Hey, wait a minute. Why my Twitch no say test? Twitch. Tell you, these systems. Okay, finally, there it is. Okay, good. Off. Turns off. Store it. Turn it back on. Go back to the menu. Fantastic. I'm gonna turn it back off. This nugget, it's dry on the outside, but I can tell. Yeah, Pearl, I got an online RPG tonight to attend, but I wanted to get progress made today, so. It's one of those, one way or another, gonna get some work done. Okay. Go there. Here, what I'm working on. There's where my strips went. Over here. Building sculpting tools today. Put these sculpting tools back. Which means I can try to put these sculpting tools back. Favorite tool. Favorite tool stays on top. Thing is to get more water jugs in here. Yeah. Alright, now let's activate the camera video-ishness. I may have to apologize to the video for any windy sounds because it is stupid humid right now. But I am not working without a fan on me today. It's way too humid outside with all the rain. Hey, Danielle. Yep, we're back at it. I definitely want to get the new pumpkin video released before September. Well, maybe not before September, but within a far more reasonable time frame. At the very least, in September, early September. Ideally, before I have to go back into very heavy, ardent teaching, because since we're redoing our everything this year, it's going to be tough to do a redesign of all my lessons and everything. That's going to require some late nights of work. This brush should be dry enough. Okay. I don't know how long this will take. Not too long, I hope. But if I have any stuff left over, I'll use it to make some clay. And then we'll throw some clay on that new form. And decide what the heck we're going to make out of it. The other problem with having a fan on you is that doing strips is one wrong move out of a game of 52 pickup. And sometimes far more than 52. Alright. Let's see what we got for our video. Yeah. Let's kick it off. Back to doing the opposite side now, and the bottom has dried overnight, so we're going to start on the top. What we're doing is laying strips from this middle zone up. So when you are painting your sauce on, you're going to be starting from the middle zone, moistening up, and get your strips. Make sure they overlap, otherwise this median zone here won't be reinforced. And I apologize for any fan sounds on me, but it's stupid humid out today, and there's no way I'm working without one. Hey Rita, yep, it's definitely that time of year to make more strips. I'm glad you're working on it. For some reason, this supply of strips that I've got right now is just holding out incredibly well. Tore a few of these way too thin though. I wish I'd started more towards July, but apparently I was too busy wallowing in whatever I was wallowing in July. I was really hoping the drone photography would take off a little bit more though, but just not a high kick in demand in this area, I guess. pumpkin totem would be a really cool concept. I've been thinking about totems myself for the last few years. I just need to sit down and pencil out what I think would be really good. Hey, James. Ah, Puerto Rico. Bienvenido. Of course, if I remember right, in Puerto Rico, it's Portuguese and not Spanish, but, you know. Yeah, never forget, Rita, persistence trumps talent. If you've got somebody who's insanely talented but doesn't get their butt to work, they will easily be shown up by somebody who just did more. I'm really wondering if you might be able to get away with just 3 layers on a beach ball pumpkin. If you had to modify the paper clay recipe to make up for some of that layered strength, I'm wondering what you could modify it with to get that. Thoughts. Anything to reduce layering and increase sculpting. Anything at all. I mean, realistically, layering isn't that bad, but when you're waiting to sculpt and having fun, it seems like it takes forever. I think the other one I'm going to do, I'm going to practice or see what it's like to sculpt and skin a pumpkin. Because my new ones I haven't been skinning, but let's see. Northern Ireland, awesome. Hey, Elaine. And thank you. I hope your stuff works out with great success. I do think the trash bags give you greater control over your form. You can make something that's a lot more gourd-like as you please. but the beach balls are just faster. Actually, we're recording right now for the new video, though this is the part that's all going to be super fast forwarded with no voice, so I agree, there's definitely a spot for both. Otherwise, it's a very rainy day here in Norwich, New York. Now, it's not too warm, but it is ridiculously humid. I tried to go to work today, actually, to get some materials I need for the main workday tomorrow, but my vehicle decided that its overheating problems were not over. So I didn't make it much more than 20 minutes into the drive until I got that beautiful red light on my dashboard. Awesome. Swimming's fantastic. I wish there was a more private way to do it around here. We have a public pool, but it has all the problems that public pools have. Jealously oogling the temperature in Reykjavik, Iceland last night. 55 degrees during the day. I was like, oh, take me back. Take me back. Snappers are very interesting critters. Alright. Yeah, my temperatures are just ridiculous. Okay, it's time to yak at the video about doing the top. Okay, it's about time to do your top section. Depending on how big your beach ball is, you're either much closer to the air nozzle or much further away than I am. One way or another, we do not want to cover this area though. So we're going to lay our strips in just sort of a lined hex around it to leave it open. And we're just going to be following this sort of a pattern where we slap strips all around it, but we never cover this nozzle, because that's where later on we're going to be extracting the beach ball from. I know we're not going to get too bad temperature-wise around here, but still. Anything over 62 degrees is hiss. Hey, Lucy. Thank you for joining us. And thank you very much. 'Tis the season of being spooky and having fun. Right now we're just working on the tutorial for the version 2 pumpkin using a beach ball rather than stuffed trash bag form. My main goal for today is to just get the top, or get the other side layered. Let's see where we go from here. So there is your Death Star beach ball, and from here on you can just continue to layer just like you did the bottom. Stack up the layers, go horizontal from time to time, and build it on up. Of course, the other problem with a fan on me too is this stuff is drying very fast. Think of all things, me complaining about things drying fast. It's usually one of the biggest problems. Things never dry fast enough. Nice. I am hoping I'll get to make them with students this year. But we'll see. Our program is disgustingly understaffed for what we have coming towards us. It's going to be very problematic. I'm willing to bet at least one district or two will have some time where they close for COVID stuff. Because someone will get it and they'll refuse to wear a mask and they'll spread it all over the school. The usual. No. I'll start worrying about that tomorrow at the meeting. First, I'd like to catch the Halloween bug a little earlier this year, or that, or just keep the crafting bug. Because normally I catch a Halloween blast around June, but I didn't this year. And that was sad. For me, the house is always internally decorated. It's the standard stuff. I got a buddy coming down this weekend now to work on tombstones, because too many of our old ones are old. To a point where they're really falling apart. Yeah, I think forcing the mood may be a viable solution for times when it's dried up. Because if you can start it, then it'll take care of itself. I know one of the problems that I've got is not being able to listen to music while I do this on YouTube. Because even folks I have permission from, I get flagged on and then have to go through the rigmarole. And you can't listen to any, Nightmare Before Christmas type stuff. Yeah, I hear you there. I'm like that with Christmas. To kind of set a date and be like, alright, the tree is going up on this day whether I feel like it or not. Yeah, and then you can take the tree down sometime mid-April. As normal people do. You probably could transform it into a Halloween tree. I personally, though, for some reason, don't like mixing my holidays. There are some folks out there who enjoy it, and more power to them. But Halloween wreaths, Halloween trees, unless it's a Ray Bradbury style Halloween tree, I just can't. It drives me nuts. I don't begrudge it, but it's just not my flavor. Hey Karen, how we doing? Cool. To each their own. And may it work out wonderfully for them. Being in the northern area, we don't really see any Mardi Gras stuff. Now I know, especially in Louisiana, it's much, much bigger. And I know that if I was even more southern, Dia de los Muertos would be a bigger event. I ordered 2 new chairs. Hopefully, they'll be here next week. Make crafting a little easier on my patootie. Yep. Well padded, wide seating area. Should be nice. Only potential problem is they're brown, which is really not my color. But I'm surfing on Amazon. I'm like, huh. Well, let's see here. The brown ones are 54 bucks, and every other color is like 80 bucks or 90. Like, what do people have against brown? Hell, I'll take brown for practically half price. Sure. Fabric paint is a thing, but I'm not going to worry about it that much. It's just very, very curious to be like, alright, what if I could get it in blue? You know, $89.99. Alright, what about black? $94.74. Alright, what about brown? $54. Okay, brown it is. One of those, that made the choice incredibly easy. Yeah. When it comes to shopping, people are strange animals. Very strange animals. I was going to make a ton of money and get a new drone, but then I realized or learned that the laws on drones are changing soon. And it's one of those, alright, I guess I'm not going to get a new drone until one comes out that matches the new legals. Huh. You know, I wouldn't have thought pink would be that much more expensive. I would definitely guess in particular objects you would find that. Nice. I had to go over to Ithaca, New York, and take the test. But I prepared, so it really wasn't that hard. Still got some vertical strips, so it's still just one layer. Let's get that covered. So what's the photo shoot for? Yeah, the whole Ithaca Valley is really, really nice. Portland, Ithaca area. I hope I live long enough to become a retired school teacher. Though I started late. If I'd done it right out of college, I would have maybe about, I'd have 8 more years in service. I don't think I was mature enough then to handle the job, though. Gotcha. Nifty. Layers, 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 layers. Well, on the upside, I may not have enough left for clay on anything, so that will keep things in time and when I have to pop off for the evening. Let's give the top another splatter. Thanks very much, Michelle. It's always good to hop on and see everybody. I'm hoping this video on the beach ball form comes out well. probably have to start off with a big what's new and different about pumpkin methodologies, and then go into the tutorial phases. Yeah, with teaching you can retire very, very early on. Though I must confess, everybody who retires from my particular institution always seems to come back within 2 years as some sort of... The teachers all come back as substitute teachers or full-time replacements for areas they can't fill the staff for. All the administrative people seem to come back as interim replacement folks. It's a mess. Absolute mess. Though there have been a few who I have not seen come back, but they've usually just moved on to something else or gone completely out of the area. Most tend to travel someplace warmer. And then some people travel someplace warmer and then come back. I will definitely say teaching is tough but rewarding. And you are given a lot of creative control over what you deliver, which is nice. And I'm just thinking, there's a pair of comedians called Armstrong and Miller who made a little comedic dig at the teaching profession a while ago, which was lighthearted, so I didn't take any kind of offense at all. But it's effectively some person who's, you know, middle of their life doing not really nothing, and then they're like, so I went back and I took up teaching because, you know, whatever. Because I could, just kind of blowing it off as a whatever profession. But I always tend to think of, there are all the other professions out there. You know, if a truck driver gets into his truck and turns it over, the truck may not start, but the truck will never go, no, I don't feel like it today, buddy. Piss off. And with students, that can happen. There's no other profession where the tools and main object can just go, no, don't wanna. I'm not going to become a more knowledgeable human being, and you can't make me. I already know all this stuff. That one's my favorite. Ooh, a blue flash. Well, the chemicals on the blue scale PC, I mean, you're looking at, I mean, it's going to be a copper. The downside with the copper chemicals is that they can go into the green spectrum really, really easy. Oh. And if I remember right, my brain wants to say copper chloride, but I have copper chloride. It's notoriously reactive, and if I remember right, I tried mixing copper chloride with magnesium flakes, and it really it was auto-reactive. It started heating up, and it was an auto-ignite. So that is absolutely right out of the area. I am really not sure what could safely do it. Do you have a copy of Shimizu's book, PC? It's a good way to handle a pearl. Oh, hello, Pagan Song. I remember. Yep. Excellent. That is a cool YouTube handle. I love it. Yeah, you really need a good chlorine donor, and the problem is you'd have to cut it with like PVC to become a chlorine donor otherwise. Shimizu's firework book is kind of one of the staples of, you know, the art, if you will. It's got a lot of good recipes in it. How we doing, Chris? Just be careful of texting and driving. Yeah, and blue is really, really difficult. My problem is I don't have my copy of Shimizu's right here in front of me. It might be in the corner. Let me take a quick look here. Wobbly. I'm going to pause my main video. Alright. Oh, let me see if I have my copy up here. I remember seeing it. It should be in this one. And my craft room needs cleaning. Who would have thought? I remember it being over here. Leather, and it's not in that stack. It's not here, it's downstairs in the library. That's not it because it's a hardcover. That's not it because it's a cat. Hello, cat. Alright. Oh, match. Unless you got Dad's copy of Shimizu. No, it must be downstairs. Oof. I would do a digital search for it. It's a very, very common firework reference book. And I'd like to try to find the whole thing there. No problem, Derek. I'm only going till I finish with my sauce here. Alright, let's find the whole book title. Oh. Shimizu. Alright, yep. Fireworks, the Art, Science, and Technique by Takeo Shimizu. And he's written a bunch of stuff there, but his main book is pretty much the Pyrotechnic Bible. Understandable. Realistically, though, do it small batch, because that's what I did with a whole lot of my stuff. I did micro flare tests, and Lord knows I went through about 10 different recipes before I decided on the one for the flash or the flash bombs. Yep. And the other thing to do as well is if you don't have a source on the reactivity of the chemicals, then you mix a small batch, put them inside something fireproof, and then give them 24 hours. Come back and see if they've auto-reacted. Because I remember the chlorine and magnesium, a copper chloride and magnesium auto-reacted, and that is why I did not use them for any kind of blue flash. Yeah. Always small batch if you're curious. What was one of my flare compounds? It was I can't remember if it was sorbitol or potassium sorbate, but if you mix that in with wax instead of the wax and confectioner's sugar, the stuff burns about 3 times hotter and 3 times faster. That had the potential to turn one of my smoke bombs into a some sort of Marxist, anarchist, terrorist weapon. Still a fascinating field. I love pyrotechnics. And like I said, you'll probably honestly, if you may be able to find it out there as like an online PDF from like Google Books, or if Google Books is still a thing. Yeah. And honestly, if you wrote it long enough ago, if you go to Pirate Bay and you do a search for it, it might come up. Just saying. Just saying. I always looked at publishers, like if it just came out, then they got to make their money back, and the author has to make their cash on it. But that book is an elderly work, so they made their money on it. Many times over, in all likelihood. I still have sauce left. I experiment, and I didn't necessarily experiment to make a finished product, but I knew if I added strontium to it, I would get a red flare. So I think I threw in a little strontium carbonate and PVC to make a red one at one point. I mean, it's pretty much the standard color spectrum. If you throw some salt in there, you'll get the yellow flame. I am reasonably sure sodium chloride does not react at all with magnesium. No, because it's a different ionization state, +1 versus +2. And I tried potassium perchlorate. That's my oxidizer. Potassium perchlorate and aluminum. The downside of that thing is it sounds like a freaking gunshot, and the last thing I wanted was gunshots. You get a great white flare and a beautiful pow, but it was way too much of a pow. Magnesium had the slow burn, the high heat, and the white that I needed to make a bright flare. So you can do it with other colors, and you can even do it with other compounds, but depends on if noise is a important factor to it. And if you do the potassium perchlorate, you need to really watch out if you decide to mix any kind of sulfur in there. You can do it very cautiously, but adding sulfur to it will make it an impact explosive. If it gets whacked hard enough, it will auto boom. Potassium perchlorate and aluminum powder works pretty well on its own, though, with no sulfur, as being relatively safe and stable. But and potassium perchlorate may be able to go together with copper chloride without being an auto-ignite. So you might get the blue flash, but it'll be a loud blue flash, and it'll be a powerful blue flash too. In my early experiments with that, I took my compound, I took 2 cap end PVC pieces of maybe, I think it was a 1/2-inch pipe. I drilled a hole in one end, I filled the 2 caps with compound, I put them together to make a pill-like shape, and I put some sort of tape around the middle. Then I lit it, threw it into a little brick, I don't know. It was right outside my classroom window. It was a little brick enclosure with a piece of plywood that went on top. I took my little pill, lit it, put it under, put the piece of plywood let down on it. It blew the piece of plywood sky high right off the thing, and got me reported to the sheriff's office for setting off explosives. So, yeah. Potassium and potassium perchlorate doesn't really tend to break much into the purple spectrum unless it's really, really dark out. I never really invested in any lithium compounds, mostly because I knew red wasn't one that I really wanted to do much of. And if I was going to do red, I was going to do it with strontium. And of course, depending on the effect you want, you can always add iron or titanium shavings for sparks. Yes, that's why I threw it in the little pit there, because I knew that had the potential. I knew the weak point on the device was the center spot, and I knew that would break it into 2 halves before it fragmented the PVC. But even still, you are 100% correct that there's a risk of shrapnel there. Paper casings are mandatory as far as I'm concerned if you're planning on doing any kind of smoke bomb or thrown flash effect firework. Because even if it goes to max acceleration with a big boom, you're still only hitting somebody with paper. It might be burning paper with bits of chemical lingering to it, but it's still just paper. The same way that, you know, hitting somebody with a copper cord firearm round is just like throwing a penny at them. It's not that bad. Oh, jeez. Pyrotechnics. I wish there was a bigger market for hand-thrown ones, but ah, yeah. Coffee creamer is some great stuff. And hello, buddy geeks. Purple is a nice reaction. It tends to be very bright with potassium, though, and it can be lost very easily unless you have some chlorine donating to the reaction. I always felt kind of bad for the kids around here. They're all stuck on the ping pong ball smoke bombs. And those things kind of suck. Depending on where you're setting stuff off, PC, you can look at like a little mine. Those aren't too hard to make. And they can be very colorful with just a slight little tiny gunpowder lift charge. Wolves, get under cover, for God's sakes. Take shelter. At least it struck in front of your mom's car. And not dead center on your mom's car. The primary application of that one, PC, is when you are making, I assume you know how a standard mortar is made, and on the inside you have the stars, which are effectively chemical nuggets. And what you do with stars is you have different layers of different color producing chemicals on them, so as the layers burn through, it changes from color to color to color. And hello, Goliath, how you doing? This is layer 3, because 1 was vertical, 2 was horizontal, and now we're on a vertical layer again. I'm really wondering if I can get away with those 3 layers, incidentally. But I'm going to go until I'm out of sauce. And that way I know there's no sauce up here rotting all night. Yeah, but PC, what they'll do is they'll take the stars, usually they put them inside of a kind of a tumbler, and you keep the moisture on them, and then you add one color compound until it has built up on all the stars, and then you add a little bit more moisture, and then another color compound, and that will build up another layer on the stars. And then they will change color as they burn through the layers. I will try, Stevenson. I'm trying to make a new tutorial video for the beach ball form. I want that out by either late August or early September. We'll see, but I want to make sure I work on it hopefully every day. I know I'm going to have the weekend. Well, no. I won't really have the weekend because my buddy Don is coming down to work on tombstones. Yeah, no worries, man. I know how it goes on tablets. It's especially bad if they change the words you're on completely with autocorrect, because their vocabulary is not as big as your vocabulary. Awesome, PC. Awesome, awesome. I wish two things. I wish I had a large piece of property to do a big haunt on, and I wish I had the physique to actually be able to carry out that haunt on that large property. Get out of the rain, wolves! Get out of the rain! I know this year, my haunt, I'm going to go with the same COVID plan as last year, just because I don't think the Delta variant's going to be gone by that time, and I want the ability to keep people measured and at a distance, at least for this year. Hopefully by next year everything will be completely fixed and we can go back to trying to get the ultimate Halloween walkthrough that I've been wanting to do for many years, but neither weather nor global pandemics has cooperated with us. I also wouldn't mind a new theme. I've thought of some new projects I want to make, but we'll see. And I've also seen a lot of things that I want to move away from. Nice, Stevenson. I have had good luck in the past when things have been going well. And my brain was perky, happy, and in a good mood. But if things modulate from that course of events, then I get frumpy and then we reach for the popcorn, pretzels, and pizza. And the doom comes upon us. And one friend of mine who went on keto and no gluten, and she's been doing very, very well. She's lost a ton of weight in the last 2 years. Okay. I can see that. Well, there's lots of ways to make that work. You can also use multiple tubes and have a fuse extending through them. There's lots of ways to get multi-effects. And bunches are even quite fun. With thrown fireworks, it's difficult though. That also means you have a longer period where your thrown firework is dangerous to other folks. And the more complicated you make it, obviously the greater possibility of failure in one area. And if your first stage goes off, but your second stage doesn't, then you got a risk factor lying on the ground. Yeah, definitively. And you can't really use stars on the ground, since they rely on being lit from the outside. From the fireworks main charge. Or I should say the lift charge. But I never fired anything with heavy lift. The biggest I ever got was a mine. And those are small potatoes as far as pyrotechnics go. Extremely small potatoes. Small, safe potatoes. Oh, I still have a whole tote full of pyrogens. Oh boy. Nice thing about all the stuff that I got that I doubt I'll use now is I can turn it into a little fire sprinkle. Make some fun colors. And then it's effectively used. Good stuff, Stevenson. Happy work on your stuff. This one's going to be nothing hugely special, just because I want this to be everybody accessible. But behind me is the skull face one that is a sculpt that I'm working on. I might even make a happy face one. I don't know. Realistically, if I'm doing a Pumpkin 2.0, I should do some sculpting techniques. Yeah, the sparkling, I mean, depending on the type of firework you've got and its distance, it will obviously, as you know, throw sparks. And those will ignite whatever you got. Depending on what you're making, they should be inside of some sort of paper protector that is fire resistant. You can get fireproof sprays relatively easily. To keep things isolated. Excellent, well done. I'm looking forward to seeing how that comes out. I've determined the nose is way too big, and so I'm gonna do a big sculpt mod on that next time I work on it. But then again, I might also work on the lower jaw, but this thing's just way too huge. And since this is the, not the model, but the inspiration for it, we'll see. I can tell by the color that it's really not drying well. This is way too much of a thick clay bunch on the outside, so we'll give it a few days and we'll let it do its things. No problem, PC. There's got to be some folks out there who do a lot more pyro stuff than I do, because I'm strictly amateur. I am willing to bet with a little searching you may find somebody who's 10 times more knowledgeable than I am. And yeah, I would never want to hold firecracker in my hand and let it go on. Ooh, Parlon Blue. I have never messed with Parlon Blue. I played with some Parlon before, but... There's got to be some sort of compound out there like the barium chlorate and shellac that goes crazy. Nice. And no, I love talking about fireworks, so I haven't played with them in quite a while. It's a fun way for me to refresh my memory. Starting to get down to the dregs of this sauce. Hoping I have enough to hit one more horizontal layer before I call it. Sounds good for me. Any chance to yak pyro? It's fun. Oh. Wish I could do more of it with my middle schoolers, but I was flatly told to stop. I've never used a fiberglass resin, no. But the closest I've come has been with actually my 3D prints. I've got some resin that I throw onto those to eliminate the layer lines and make a smooth product. The only reason I haven't on the pumpkins has been largely, it's gotten a lot cheaper, but the cost of resin is one factor when I can get varnish for a lot cheaper. And the other factor for the resin, especially in the past, the beach ball pumpkins are kind of the preclusion factor to this, but in the past I would have the trash bag pumpkins, and the inside of them is full of so many little gaps and holes that it was very impractical to try to fill them all. And if you're spending all that money on resin, you wouldn't be able to get all those gaps filled. I can imagine the witchwood working well for both, quite frankly. If you're doing a rotten pumpkin, though, in my mind, it needs to be partially collapsed. And the witchwood would look okay coming out of that. I don't know. When I think of doing rotten pumpkins, you've got to collapse the design, and you've got to throw the black in there and a little bit of frosty white for mold, because that's just what happens to those left outdoor pumpkins. It would really depend on, quite frankly, on how you colored the witchwood. I think you could have a lot of nifty color variations in there. No problem, PC. You could have a black witchwood that is, or at least a much darker, like a dark walnut witchwood that looks like a rotted vine. You could take that same dark witchwood and hit it with a layer of, cripes, where is it? At any rate, it is that metallic finish. I would use something like a violet or a purple. It's that dust that you cover stuff with to make it look metallic. And you could even hit it with like a metallic blue, metallic green, metallic violet to make it look like some sort of strange entity or something unnatural is growing out of the rotted pumpkin. Make it kind of like a corpse flower pumpkin. Yeah, there's the potential for witchwood effects is huge. Throw it on anything to look like a viney branch of anything. Make it wood, make it dead wood, make it unnatural wood. We did some experiments a while ago with red, green, blue, and I think highlighter colored witchwood. I can't remember which live stream that was in, but we did it on 3 small skulls. The red, if I remember right, looked like, you know, pulsing veins. It looked very, very arterial. The blue, I don't remember being anything special. The highlighter color was great when you hit it with the black light, obviously. Because that's what those are all about. Really low on sauce. Beautiful. Didn't make it quite all the way around. Hi, cat. Where you at? Come here. Get some cuddles. Meow. Hi. Meow. Meow. If you're over there, I can't pet you. Come here. Come on. There you go. Good girl. Welcome back, Stevenson. Yay. Arr. I won't be working too much longer. I'm down to the dregs. See if I can get a few more strips horizontal. Because I've got a thing this evening at 8 o'clock online. And that's one of the reasons I came on, quote unquote, early for me. I think that's it. Yeah. Alright, one more strip. I have just enough left on my brush to cover that one. Good. Now I'm going to stop the video recording because there's no point in recording me sitting here. bit. Sweet. And I get to leave the fan on in here this time. The fan that's normally in this room has been appropriated to the bedroom for the summer months when it's way too friggin' hot. But I just bought 2 new fans, so drying for days. Got to the end of summer funds and realized I was well ahead. Alright, this goes back into the cookie water. So sorry about that, Stevenson. I'm probably going to be shuckling off here, but you'll definitely be able, if you want to, restart the video on YouTube's. It is my fond hope tomorrow. I've got work, and Don's going to be here in the evening, so we are probably going to be getting schlitzed at that point. Saturday, we'll be working on tombstones, and it is my fond hope that we'll be working up here in the craft room. Hopefully we'll just be online, because we're working on Halloween stuff. There's no reason to not yak back and forth on that. Sunday evening is playing Gloomhaven. That ends at 6, and I have work on Monday, so with a little luck, Sunday night I'll be able to do an hour or 2, and yeah, beyond that, just depends on how much work I need to get done before the school year starts, and I will be working away. But I'm really wondering if I can get away with 3 layers. I'm not going to tell anybody, though, so only you guys will know the secret. I'll just be like, yeah, there's 6 layers on there, it's great. But in reality, there might be only 3, because I really don't want to do 6 layers on this goddamn. I think I can get away with it if I give it a close pressed layer of paper clay, and if I hit the outer mache with some sauce first to really bond the paper clay to the under layers, because I don't want to do 6 layers in this thing. I think 3 is going to be fine. In some areas it might be as low as 2. Would be great. I'm out of sauce, so otherwise, thank you everybody for joining me today. And yeah, we're going to be steamrolling this for a while. So take care, and we will catch you later on.